God wants our lives to overflow with mercy, love, and compassion, the marks of His kingdom. As followers of Jesus, we have a choice. Respond to unsettling realities in fear and withdraw, or follow Him in responding to the greatest needs of our day with love and hope. Fortunately, for this congregation and literally tens of thousands of families across Bell County, some special members of Taylors Valley Baptist Church chose to follow the Lord by serving those in need. We're extremely proud that this year marks the 20th anniversary of our food pantry. It is a significant milestone worthy of celebration. The founders accepted a calling over 2 decades ago to establish a pantry for members of Taylors Valley that needed assistance. Shortly thereafter, their focus expanded to Temple and the surrounding Bell County communities.
I was working at MHMR, and I was leaving work one day. I was walking down the alley. A voice said to me, "Food pantry at church." I said, "What?" All the way home, and I kept thinking about what it was and what I could do. Our class, there's about 12, 14 people in our class. Joanne Cox was our Sunday school teacher, and I talked to her about it and told her what was said. She said, "Go to the deacons meeting the next time they have it and tell them." But I told them we didn't want the church to have to pay, you know. So I talked to them and told them I had to go to Austin to get this food bank out here started, because we could get food from Austin where we're getting it right now. Dick Collins and I went to Austin and spent all day down in Austin going through the ropes, the do's and the don'ts. Talked to the class about it, and if we could help people and maybe get a building out here and have it for our church members. And we did that, and it kept growing, and we opened it up to the outside world.
Well, I was in the Sunday school class, a couple too, and they had started a small pantry here at the church for people in our church that needed help. And from there it just grew to a food pantry here at Taylors Valley. And I was still working at the time, and there was quite a few in our Sunday school class that were volunteering. So I spoke to them about volunteering as soon as when I retired, and that's what I did. Right after I retired, I came here, and I think, in my best memory, that I stayed for about 10 years. And also my husband volunteered and worked out here, and so it was a kind of a joint thing for us to do together, and enjoyed it very much.
We started in February of 2003. And when we started visiting churches, we visited here, and one of the things that attracted us was a group starting to feed the community and the members of the church. They had a small little building, and people would come to the door and they would say, "I have so many in my family." We found out if they were children, if they were adults, and we would fix a sack or a box or whatever we had that the church had donated for us to use, and give that to that family. It was just a really rewarding experience, because we had so few of us and we had very few clients. We had a handful, and we would open every 2 Wednesdays. Sometimes Fender Stewart would come out and sit and just wait and not even have a client come by. So we really were dedicated, and it has been a great experience to watch it as it has enlarged.
Before we started serving the clients, we always went outside and joined with the men that were outside and had prayer in a circle. And then sometimes some clients would come in and join us and pray with us. So that was always a blessing for the people there that knew that we were here to serve them and know that we were praying for them.
We owe a debt of gratitude to the founders and early volunteers for accepting the calling to start the Pantry ministry. Without question, that was the cornerstone that led us to where we are today.
Look at it now, and look at the men and women and children that has worked here and done what they're doing, and look at it now. It's God sent. I don't know, but it's to feed the hungry and the poor who don't have nothing.
Well, every Wednesday seems to be a good day. You show up and you never know what to expect and how many people is going to volunteer that day. But it seems to all come together. So no matter what, there's everybody with a cheerful smile. They're here to help. And then so I just help put them in a place that they can help get everything organized and it run really smooth for the clients that are waiting.
I am involved because I wanted to make sure this ministry kept going. My mother tried to volunteer here for a while. She was probably 82, and she loved doing it, but she just couldn't stand. When we're filling these bags, we're standing constantly. The people doing the boxes, everybody outside, you stand constantly. Well, she's not the only one that was a little wiser and a little bit older. So if the ones of us that were not necessarily in that age group didn't step up, this could have died. It could have just ceased to be because there was nobody to work the way that they had worked. So it's important that all of us come in and help so that when they phase out, when the two people that started this phase out, there's still going to be a food pantry. My 8-year-old granddaughter is coming with me this summer every Wednesday because her parents wanted her to know that not everybody has what she has, but also to give back to the community.
In that 20 years, this pantry has purchased and distributed over 1,100,000 pounds of food, in addition to the food that has been obtained every year in community food drives, the Food for Families drive, the Postmasters drive, Real Estate Association drive. There are others, but totally we have been able to distribute a huge amount of food.
Due to increased needs for food in 2020 and the COVID-19 pandemic, we extended distribution from 2 days to 4 days per month. The food pantry ministry that started 2 decades ago, serving a half dozen or so families, served over 3,500 families last year. That was a 45% increase from the previous year of 2019.
I've been in food pantry for maybe like 6 years now. It's been a while. Usually I come with Miss Welba and Mr. Edwin. When I didn't used to drive, she would pick me up from my house and we would go get Sonic drinks. We would come here and we would have our little set jobs, and it was just always really fun to me, and I really enjoy meeting everyone out here, and I really like serving people because helping people is kind of my thing. I really enjoy it. And I used to do this for National Honor Society for hours, but now I kind of do it for fun. I enjoy interacting inside in here because all of the women, they're really funny. Miss Portia's really funny. She cracks a lot of jokes. And I just like helping Miss Dorsey organize everything and help. She likes to keep everyone in check, so I like to do that with her. It's kind of fun.
I started about 3 years ago and started off working in loading boxes and getting things ready, and then now I'm doing intake, and we get to go to the cars, and Katrina and I have a great time with visiting with the people and getting to know their stories and how God is really working in their lives, and really thankful for our church to that we provide this food pantry for them, because some of them are really in need a lot, and I'm thankful that our church is helping them.
The Pantry Ministry has offered commendable service to the surrounding communities for over 20 years, beyond what anyone could have ever imagined. Having said that, collectively we believe the timing is right to expand the overall ministry operation to keep pace with the increased number of clients and the tremendous growth in Temple and Bell County. The new facility on the horizon is welcomed. Simply put, this ministry wants to put more food in the hands of more people to combat hunger. One final, yet extremely important note, our pantry ministry offers more than food to families.
One of the things that I have been blessed so much from is we used to go down to Walmart and buy 100 or so bars of soap at a time to give every family a bar of soap. And people always looked strangely at us when I came out pushing a cart with her following me along with 100 bars of soap. And I would have to say, well, this is for our food pantry. And one day, a little lady came up and said, and asked what we were doing. And I told her, she was curious about why we would be buying so much soap. And I said, we're not really that dirty. This is for our food pantry. And she said, where is your food pantry? And I said, down at the end of the street, end of 31st Street. And she said, oh, just a minute. And she reached into her purse and pulled out a few bills, small bills, and said, I want you to have this. I said, not long ago, I was in very financial straits, and you saved my soul. I said, we got food from you, and it was such a blessing, and I want to return the blessing for someone else, that I'm okay now. So this is in honor of the blessings that we received from you. And as you can tell, that really stuck with me. It was really a blessing and made it all worthwhile.
We had a gentleman, I wasn't here the first time that he came, but Jimmy came home and told me. He said, we had a gentleman come up today and said he just came out of nowhere and said he needed some groceries. So Jimmy said, okay, son, said, how did you get here? And he said, I walked. And Jimmy said, you walked? Where do you live? He said, between Belton and Nolanville. And so Jimmy said, well, let's get your groceries and I'll carry you home. So Jimmy takes him home, and I mean, off of the highway between here and Nolanville, he said it was way back down in there. And they lived in a trailer. It was he and his wife. And so the next time he came then, Jimmy came home and he said it disturbed him because he said, you know, he said, it's so sad that people live in like they're living. And he said they have no transportation, no nothing. So Jimmy had told him, the next time you need food, let us know. Well, I guess he had no way of letting us know. So the next time I happened to be here at the pantry when he came, and Jimmy, I did not see him because I was in here working, but I rode with Jimmy out to take them food. And I was just, I don't know, it blesses my heart to know that we can help people like that. I mean, it was sad. And I would say the guy walked at least close to 10 miles, I would say, by the time you get to where he lived, over here to the church house. And that just, you know, anytime we can help people like that, that is such a blessing. And we don't think about things like that when we have everything around us and ways to get around and have plenty to eat. We just don't think about that. And I guess that was one of the biggest things of my time of working in the pantry. I mean, we had lots of people come through that were needy and really needed it. But I think that was what touched me more than anything.
But a few weeks ago, something happened that made it a lot more real to me. I normally work the line, where we put things, ones of us on the line put things in the baskets so the guys can then roll them around to put the food in the cars. Well, I help with Babette and Katrina. Sometimes they're the ones that walk around to the cars, and they take the names of the people and all of the information that we have to send in to the Central Texas Food Bank every month. And I was helping, Babette was out, so I was helping Katrina, and they are so good at what they do. They have been doing it long enough that they know these people by name. They can ask them about, you know, how's your mother if they were sick the last time. But we walked up to this one lady's walked up to her car, and we both said, hello, how are you? And she just said, I'm fine. You could tell by the look on her face, and me being, I had just met her the first time, I could tell something was wrong, and Katrina knew her, and she said, well, that doesn't sound very promising. And the lady just kind of shook her head, and we went on and got the information. And she finally said, well, I'm dealing with the loss of a child. And we both said, well, you know, I'm so sorry. And then a little later, she said, I've lost 4 in 2 years. She had lost 4 children in 2 years' time. What do you say? You know, sorry is not adequate for 1, and it definitely is not for 4. And after we got finished with everybody, I got to thinking, you know, these people are not only dealing with the issue of not being able to put food on their table, but they're dealing with illness and family issues and grief. And the fact that the Couples 2 class all those years ago felt led to start a food pantry. And today, 20 years later, we're able to, as a church, take one of those issues off their shoulders twice a month. Is worth every minute, every hour that we put in working, and every dollar that can be pushed through this thing.
In God's kingdom, showing mercy always wins over harsh judgment. Mercy triumphs over judgment.